Everyone, welcome back to Stacking the Deck. I have been stacking the sickness the past week, so
Whoa. Where's that podcast?
Wow.
Oh, whoa!
Yeah. So the past week I was sick. I think we're getting caught up on some news. But this is a pretty big news week for our MetaZoo crowd. I don't know if anybody wants to lead with the story or not, but I figured we would cut straight to MetaZoo since we've been kind of bearing it in between news lately.
We do love MetaZoo, so
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll kick it off. The the crazy news, in my opinion, and I haven't seen anybody else talk about it, but in the E4 Discord, there was a user that had leaked the former playtest files for, what is it, War, the Hello Kitty Christmas set, literally every set between Native and War that was not released for MetaZoo. And those playtest files, I think, are available as a TTS file.
Yeah.
So,
It's
like that.
It's pretty insane. Yeah, they got a hold of whenever MetaZoo playtesters, they all operate out of spreadsheets whenever they do a testing cycle, and they got a hold of those, and it's got all the card data. It doesn't have any of the metadata, but it's got card name, what it does, how rare it's going to be, all that for all of the sets in the last playtesting cycle before the company went under. So it's pretty significant, because unless you were one of those 30 people that were a playtester, or you were R&D for the company, you wouldn't see these things. So for a lot of people, it might be eye-opening for the few MetaZoo fans that are left in the world, just to see kind of how the sausage is made. We use that term a lot, and how personally, whenever I learn how the sausage is made on different things, it sort of ruins my experience. But I don't think that's going to do that for MetaZoo fans. I think they're going to say, wow, I really wish that this stuff came out, because it's really cool.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to look at some of this stuff, I think, and kind of reconcile the fact that it just never got made. I think one thing to keep in mind, it was still being tested or refined, but the gameplay was certainly heading in an interesting direction.
It seems to be. I mean, from looking at the cards, the power creep was going to increase tenfold at least, at a minimum. And along the lines of what Kurt was saying, this should also resonate with the fan base that's still around, or even that some that might be coming in, that people were working, like the playtesters, the R&D team, everybody like that, they were working. This is a huge blunder by the higher ups, their mismanagement of practically everything. Like, this isn't a issue from those who it was above their pay grade. It was a probably C-suite level and above, VP level and above blunder. The cards looked great. I've had a little bit of opportunity to see some of the cards, like the art for them, and I mean, it was definitely giving Pokemon gym leader vibes. It was going to be an amazing set, and so it is a little sad, but hopefully, since the Meta 2 staff should be privy to this stuff, they hopefully will have something along these lines coming up in the future sets down the road.
We hope, right?
We hope.
Yeah, I think it's it's gonna be hard. Like I said, just you're gonna look at these cards, you're like, okay, well, War was very much along the way. I think, Legacy's in there too. I forgot about Legacy.
Legacy's in there.
I mean, you could conceivably play vintage MetaZoo as like on TTS, I guess, with these cards if you wanted. I don't know. I don't really know why you would do that, but yeah, that's kind of where we're at with it.
I don't know why you want to play MetaZoo on TTS to start, but
yeah. I think a lot of it to me is just tied to like those quote auctions where you just see There's steadily like 90 to 100 people in those whatnot auctions these days, and they're all bidding and looking at MetaZoo. That's not like crazy numbers, but that's more than I would think, which is really kind of strange to me.
I mean, that's more than most whenever MetaZoo was like still in, you know, the company wasn't bankrupt. That's more than like every whatnot stream would get regardless, right? This is, in a sense, this is like the most popular outside of like the occasional, you know, Bailey stream where he's at Collecticon giving away signed cards because he's not staff, but he's staff. And it's like, hey guys, check out this exclusive, which just an extension of the company. But as far as like non-company related streams, this is the most that MetaZoo's ever had eyes on, which is sad, but also cool. Question mark?
Yeah.
No, it's definitely sad, but it's also equally, if not more, cool, because it's like, man, some of these ideas or things that people are talking about are coming to fruition, but also you see the level and the intent of creating these cards. Like there's some intentionality behind, you know, the future sets, and it definitely seemed like there was going to be a new, obviously every set there's a new meta, but definitely the game was going to be changed and flipped upside down with war, considering also that war would have probably been legal for the next assuming Caster Cup. So you would have had a new meta that you really couldn't like base off of anything that you've done in the past. Like this is going to be a whole bunch of exploration, and would have been amazing to try it out. But you know, we're not always able to do so. So we just look forward to MetaZoo to be able to provide us with those kind of vibes again. But we'll see. We haven't seen a card yet,
and we won't see a card. That was another thing. For those of you that have been keeping up with MetaZoo Main.
Oh, Kurt got lit up. Charlie says, "Ah, hell no, we don't like Kurt."
I had some custom artwork made back whenever MetaZoo was alive and well, and I was gonna create my own like little business card like they handed out that had all my information on it, and obviously the company went under. So I just have this really cool artwork. I have the actual artwork. It's hanging up in my house. But instead of having all of my business card credentials in the text box, it just says, show us a card, Charles. Because, you know, we've been on this for about 4 weeks now, where I'm like, I just need to see a card so that I can see if I want to devote any time or energy to it. And I would post it every day. Sometimes other people would also post it in the same day. And our boy Charles came out and said, hey guys, we got to quit asking to see the card. Because it ain't happening.
He putting his foot down. He said, we stopping this shit right now.
He said, no more day 6 of show us a card, Charles. You just got it. And he basically just said, you gonna get it when you get it, and you gonna get it at Collecticon, and that's it.
That's so funny.
It was, you know, a little sad because at the end of the day, Charles, we just want to see a card.
Yeah, I do believe that if they showed a card, it would give a lot more credence and hype to the MetaZoo. Like I think it's one. I know that you're trying to have a major like boom at the Collecticon, like we all know that, but I think because not a lot of people are going to be able to make the trek to Florida, giving them a card before the actual convention will do a lot for the morale, like being like, see, this is a great card, a lot of content will be created. Whereas if you're trying to drop the card, do like demos and all this other stuff at Collecticon, I think you get back to where MetaZoo is being a little bit of a exclusive opportunity. Like a lot of times you couldn't get cards unless you were there. Like that for Houston Collecticon, you couldn't get, being there and having access to Nightfall and the release decks and different things like that. You were kind of behind the 8 ball if you weren't at Houston Collecticon, just from a playability standpoint, like seriously. And so having it at a Collecticon that's not really central, that's that's in Orlando, plus everybody's not going to be able to see anything until they get there and get to start playing and stuff like that. I think it might do a little bit for morale, but I don't think it's going to be the most desired thing. Like, I think now people could be making videos and seeing and then speculating right now up until Collecticon about what's going on. But hey, it's their marketing strategy, their marketing roadmap. So we'll see how this goes. But I would recommend doing something now instead of just the art, just because you can have people start to craft ideas and flesh things out beforehand.
I mean, it would also build hype for the convention, right? More people would want to go, unless it's trash. Maybe that's the problem that we're not considering, is that the game is going to look like Goo Goo Gaga Baby Town, and there's going to be no competitive, playability of it, and maybe that's why they don't want to show us a card. Maybe that could be the only reason why I feel like you would want to keep all of that information back. But we're 2 months out from the first Collecticon where it's going to be. This is about the time where people have to start asking off for work, start buying flights, start buying hotels. If you put something out a week before, man, this old MetaZoo, who dis? It's the same shit where it's, oh, guys, did you see this cool card? Yeah, we just spoiled it 1 week before the convention. Now drop a band to get out to Houston so that you can get this exclusive promo card. Or if you're in Earth Tower, this is your first chance to get your native product at the tower itself. It's like, oh, okay, cool, I guess. We
love that.
It's an interesting strategy. But well.
Yeah, I think it's crazy. I'm really bullish on Meta 2, but for reasons that defy the fundamentals that I have in mind. I definitely think it's gonna stonk. There's no doubt in my mind that it's gonna go crazy. To what end? I think the speculators, investor crowd for sure is gonna go hard. They're gonna be like, here we go. Can't get my Pokemon, but I got the Meta 2. Now, my question is the gameplay, the LGS stuff. I think we've already said this before, but surely by now
we talk about it.
Yeah, surely by now that boat that ship has sailed. Where it's I don't think an LGS can. I think 2 months is just gone now, right? You can't order product.
No, I mean, this is around the time, just depending on, this is whenever you would start having deadlines to pre-order product on the distributor side. Usually it's two months before. I mean, it can be all the way up until a month before. And then you put in your allocation, you get the product shipped to you a week before the street date, so you have it in time for the street date. So this is right around the time where it should be popping up on the distros websites, so that we can see what they have. As far as I'm concerned, it has not popped up, despite his claims of saying that the MetaZoo TCG will be in your local game store by the end of Q1. Haven't seen it on any distro list yet, so who buying it? They gonna go to every LGS in the country? Are we getting MetaZoo Bus Tour 2.0?
Now that's that way to start off with a bang. If you did, and you're like, hey, we're gonna grassroots this thing at every LGS that we can. That would be cool, because man,
crazy.
I mean, I'm sure Texas Tech if they pay him adequately.
They pay for his fuel, his hotel, his meals.
They had a U-Haul,
a small stipend. They're in it. They're in it to win it.
Yeah, I know. I think it's gonna be fine. It's hard to be optimistic. It's hard to, I'm out here trying to put my best foot forward on this, but it's, we'll see. We'll give it some time. But I think in the meantime, though, people can still. That's the crazy thing. It's how much. You got Charles over here buying out all of Meta 1. do we think like those kind of folks are going to come over to Meta 2 after spending all this money, or does it just not matter? I don't know. I don't know how this works.
Are you referring to not Charlie Herlocker?
No,
Charles?
yeah, just a different.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So different person.
Sorry, yeah, not Charlie Herlocker, but MetaZoo fan Charles or whatever. He's in the Quote streams. So I'm just thinking about like these guys in the Quote streams. They're buying all this MetaZoo 1 product. What does that mean for Meta 2, or does that just not matter at all?
I don't think it matters at all.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
And I think anyone, I mean, unless they're truly just buying it for the hell of it. I mean, someone bought the streamer kit, Sam Sinclair, and put it up on Facebook saying like, hey guys, got the sealed Sam Sinclair, $250, and just got laughed into oblivion.
Yeah, we ain't
on
doing
all
that.
the comments. It's like, brother, good to see you got the 1 of 1 from the streamer kit that I paid for. It's like, cool, man. Who cares? Like, no one's gonna buy this. And then instantly calling him out. Didn't you pay like $40 for this? And you ask him for $250? We were all in the Whatnot stream. You know,
Yeah,
the
it's the
entire
community
Metazu fan base
Yeah.
is in every one of those Whatnot streams. So
Yeah, I don't know
not-
who you resell this stuff to. I guess it
I
just
don't think you do.
You
I don't
don't.
think
You just buy it and you hold it because
because you like.
yeah, you gotta. It's because you like it, but the days of people making money off of indie TCGs like they were in the couple of years ago, like early Kickstarter meta, it's not happening. The people's money there is super finite. It's dried up. That, and then also people have wised up. They've gotten basically kind of railroaded into making these bad decisions or buying something. Like imagine if when MetaZoo was still like extremely playable and we had towers and you're buying stuff 3 and 4 5 times the market price because you need it for a tower, or you hear that Mike and Andy like, oh, there's a cap on this, you won't get it anywhere else, you got to get it during the drops, and it's like 30
Friday
minutes,
drop. Yeah,
30 minutes to get it, and everybody's buying as many rugs or anything under the sun that MetaZoo provided for us as consumers.
Wait, speaking of that, hold on. I've got a prime suspect right here. Chibi Iowa Dragon. I bought the 4 plush set. I didn't need none of this, but I found these and I was like, oh man,
I need it for Flame Tower.
I need that for a Flame tournament. What if they print something in Flame that's really good? I gotta have it.
Oh, that's true. They got us so good with that. There was always the FOMO of the competitive staple that you had to have of this weird one-off print. That's why Rat Kings were so speculated heavily on. And oh boy, have the mighty have fallen when Rat King was like what, a $250 card
at least.
Now since the quote auctions, they've gone down as far as I've seen them sell for $38, and also they're giving the Rat Kings away for free when they have sent damaged product to people. So I mean, that should kind of tell you everything you need to know as well about the quantities at which they have a lot of this dead product. So,
but those Rat Kings, man, they were crazy. I mean, full disclosure, I paid $200 for mine because I thought I needed it. I thought it was going to be so exclusive, and I thought I was getting a good deal. And then, that's kind of another thing. We talk about new MetaZoo and then building hype. They need to immediately say where you're going to use these cards at. It ain't playing at home with your friends. It's not going to your LGS and trying to convince the $12 an hour employee to carry MetaZoo so that you and your 3 friends, instead of playing Commander that night, play MetaZoo. They need to have some type of organized play, whether it's at the Collecticons, whether it's at a venue like a regional. They have to announce that so quickly. And I don't think if they make any type of that announcement within the first couple Collecticons, no one's going to care. I truly do not believe that the collector base, and I may be way off base with this because I'm a card player, I just don't think that they're going to do hardly any of the numbers that they might think they're going to do unless they say, here's how you can use your cards.
I don't know. I feel like the collectors are really going to drive the initial FOMO, and then from there, long term, I think you do need to do something with the cards. But
What's long term? Like first year?
yeah,
Is that
yeah,
long
yeah,
term?
yeah. Like the first year, I think, um, I just really have a strong feeling that this first set's just going to be absolute stonks, and everybody in this industry, they're so hungry to gamble. They want like everybody wants to the get rich quick kind of stuff, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. It's just kind of what it is.
Yeah.
And when you see those dollar signs, you're like, well, I gotta go to the Collecticon. I gotta get it for MSRP, and I gotta sell it. And y'all check me if you think this speculation's wrong, but I think this is the formula of how the LGS comes into play, where they there may be a direct to consumer aspect where maybe product is sold at collecticons, or maybe there's like a vendor like Metakai who's selling, you know, they're not an LGS, but they're selling product to these MetaZoo fans,
Mhm.
and the product is so hard to get that suddenly the secondary market price on it, maybe it's MSRP what 120, which would be crazy to me, but it's probably going to happen. Maybe it's selling like the boxes are now $300 a box. The LGSs, and likely if I was Meta2, I'd hold boxes back for when the LGSs see that, and then the LGSs will say, "Hold on, I want a piece of that." They'll buy from distro at $60 a box or whatever, knowing full well that the LGS can that they now have those boxes in their store, and the LGS can then try to sell at that $300 markup, but they'll probably undercut it, probably put it at like $200.
Yeah.
But um, that's I think that's the way to get MetaZoo back into LGS is when they could see those secondary market dollar signs, and
Mhm.
Meta2 can kind of backdoor
So
that.
we really FOMO even the LGSs.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. No, exactly. Yeah.
Well, they have to because they're also needing a surge of money. Like they don't have like just because Pokemon's doing well for everybody else doesn't mean. I mean, LGSs are still the ones kind of
But they don't have
breadcrumbing.
enough Pokemon to even make
Bingo.
the to
Really,
put the dollars into it, right? Like
True.
they can't even get prismatic.
yeah, they're screwed. Yeah, they're screwed. They're. I think their situation is different, but it's the same way that MetaZoo got into LGSs. Is that I see these cards and they're worth so much money, or I can see these boxes and they're like selling out everywhere, and I can put them on the secondary market if I want to, and they're worth a lot of money. Like the more scarcity and FOMO that you create around this first set, the more people are going to be like, all right. That's when you start to have people compromise their morals and ethics. They're like, I'll never touch MetaZoo ever again. I promise on this person's life, and then you're like, dang, this box is $300. All right, screw that person and the promise I made on their life. We're gonna go for it again. Come on, let me shake the dice and roll, and
Yeah.
hopefully I get double sixes. But I do have a little bit of information. I am talking to somebody pretty close to the situation, and they said, I know people are getting impatient, and they're monitoring all of the discords and chats and different things like that. There is maybe a little bit more to the rollout from a legal perspective, just because the bankruptcy. There isn't just the idea of creating the card set. You still have to do the legality portion of it, getting access to certain things, not getting access to certain things. Also, this is only going to be, I guess, 4 or 5 months since they've taken over. So being able to roll something out in that amount of time is rather quick. So they are asking for everybody to give them a little bit of grace, because for them to come out in, basically 4 months to already start having cards and pretty much have things pretty much stitched up. They have tested it fully with users, so various different age groups. They've done a panel, got people to survey, tell them what they think about the cards, think about the game. Good remarks there. According to them, they are saying around February is where you might see something as far as cards. The game has been pre-reviewed by several sources and has high marks amongst competitive and casual players. And so, yeah, and that the group, the collective, the Free Squonks, they do value the players quite a bit, and so they aren't intending on letting us down. But things just take a little bit longer because of all of the said things prior to this.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, I will say that, today is at the time of us recording this, there are 6 days until February. Now, obviously, February can mean any time in that month, but all right. I just wish that I could see something. I just got to see something, man. I don't want to see artwork no more. I understand the red tape and all of that, but I just want to see something. I want to see an attack name. I want to see a damage number next to the attack. I want to see if I got to pay energy to do it, or if I can just attack. I got to see something, just one little something.
No, I'm with you. I'm really impatient.
Surely I can. Ever since we all found out that the company was reacquired, and they said that they're going to start putting out more new product and more product again, I think that's what everyone wanted to see. And we've just kind of been going and going. I mean, you guys can see in the MetaZoo main, it's not nearly the amount of traffic that was old MetaZoo. You'll do like 30 messages a day in the chat channel. Like that's crazy. Even whenever they drop art, whenever you can see like the divide between the days on one page of your Discord on your computer, that's not good.
This is true.
So, I mean, just one little crumb, I think, would just get everyone going. It get me going. I'd be shilling that to high heaven.
Yeah, we make like 5 or 10 different videos. Look at this, and then you'd have somebody be like, "Look at the rarity in the left corner."
Exactly. Does this imply triple star rarity? What does it mean?
I can see that working. On also, I think that with the lack of participation, there's just also a ton of other games that are like B tier and above that are capturing people's mind. Like people are going like San Antonio regionals. I saw plenty of people for Pokemon. Like since they don't have anything to play, they've gotten back to Pokemon. Lorcana, they had the World Championships, or they had Worlds just recently, and they just expanded into the Japanese in APAC with their most recent release, and they're having Japanese cards and different things like that. One Piece is still killing it, I don't know if they're killing it, but they still have tournaments. They still have people participating. It's not as interesting to me as what it once was, that and Lorcana, but people are still playing it, and that's keeping the carnies away from the carnival, if you will. So
true. It's
let's put Tormentic to work. Let's get some info for him.
Yeah. He would have like 30 videos up by now if he had one sample, like one card. Like he would have fleshed it out pretty good in terms of all the theories, connected it to the board and the string, and it's like, well, this theory is just this one, and it's going to be like serialized ultra titanium rare cards. It's going to be some crazy stuff, but I love it because that's what keeps the game going and keeps it interesting.
Yeah, I think there will be news eventually.
So that means Ed, you're going to get out your house and you're going to go to Orlando?
No.
We'll have boots on the ground. Easton Evans, our correspondent, he'll be playing in the demo deck tournament.
I think I might go to Orlando. I think I might. I'm gonna call Dylan up and be like, "Look, bro, let's go to Orlando because I already know you're gonna go there. You're gonna be.
We got the vendor badge.
You got a vendor badge.
First in line.
We can be first in line. We can tag team, sell it for $500. The demo decks." Play it like the old days, but before we had the privilege that we have now. Like we back then we didn't have McDonald's money. Now we have McDonald's money. We can get those the alpha decks, sell them, put them in the vendor cases, sell them for $500 before you even get in line.
Man, we're gonna put on a couple different hats too, act like we're different people.
Different changes of clothing.
Yeah.
I'll bring different Collecticon badges even.
Yeah.
No, that is my twin brother.
Yes.
An obviously fake mustache. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll just go shave in the bathroom and then.
Now you can only make that change once, but
That's right. That's
but
right.
it'll be worth it whenever you hit that second demo deck. Let me tell
$500 shave right there, man. So worth
You're
it.
going in
worth
the
it.
line, like people waiting to try out MetaZoo, and you're like going in the line. Hey, dude, skip the line. I heard Medica over there's got decks for like $100. Like,
Dang.
who cares about this? Just come on over here.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, it's gonna be crazy. There's no doubt about it. Is it gonna be everything's right and happy and good? I don't know. Probably not. There's no smooth way to relaunch MetaZoo. There's always gonna be people that are just burnt, sad, upset. Especially the people that aren't gonna be there. They're gonna feel
They're gonna
heckin'
be
salty.
salty.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, so and so, they're selling their cards for hundreds of dollars.
This is just MetaZoo all over again.
Yeah, just a flip and an investment thing. And it's like, y'all understand, for the reasons I even laid out for the LGS, if you ever want it to be at your LGS, the prospect has to be that the LGS is going to make money off you. Like that's how that has to work. Your LGS wants no part in selling a product at cost or at a loss. And
yeah, no, not at all.
And for them to take on MetaZoo as a risk again, they have to see dollar signs, like heavy dollar signs.
Big dollar signs. They got to see dollar signs and they got to see interest.
Yeah.
People have got to be like, hey, y'all got that MetaZoo? Y'all got that? Hey, y'all got that good stuff?
Yeah, exactly. Even if they're not carrying it. So the prospect or situation or scenario that I laid out in one of the discords, I forget which one, but I was like, not only does the product have to be sold at a premium by the LGS, but they would need to be prompted by it by seeing you and your two other Yahoo friends, you three walk in there and just start playing MetaZoo. And they're like, what are you guys doing? Oh, I thought that was dead. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't want to buy that again. I'm gonna get burnt. And then you go, well, good luck finding it because the boxes are 300 each. And the guy's like, yeah, right. And he pulls up their distro and is like, wait, the boxes are selling for 300. I got 4 guys here that play this. I can buy them for 60. Hold on a second.
He said,
hey guys, I got the scoop.
he said it's math time.
Yeah. So anyhow, MetaZoo leaks. And basically we'll know more about MetaZoo when we get to more MetaZoo. The Are We There Yet is not working.
It's not working, and it's sad.
Are we there yet? No.
No. We're not there. We'll never be there. Not until Collecticon Orlando. Yeah. I can't wait that long. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he said, I need it now.
I need it now.
I might go. If enough people go, maybe I'll convince myself.
Come on. We can
write it off. We can write it off.
Business expense. We can make this happen.
How many years can Giddm Games operate at a loss?
3 or 4 before they start coming.
It ain't gonna be at a loss after we get those demo decks.
500 a piece.
That's true. My response is, how many years did MetaZoo operate at a loss? I don't know.
Zero.
No, technically, maybe 3 months because they were like 50 million and generated, and then the last 3 months we don't know what happened to the money.
Dang, supernatural black hole.
Man, invested in Pokemon.
Yeah.
They bought a bunch of Charizards.
I got some other indie news. I've been talking to Brian with Chronicles of Arcane. So they just launched their new set. Have y'all checked it out at all?
Yeah, we like it.
Okay, hold on. Easton has. I have not. I don't even know how to play Chronicles of Arcane.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool. It's Primordial Rise, I believe it's called. So they are looking for some marketing from Giddm Games. So I'll be upfront and saying, hey, I might show their product a bit, but more so, I think it is interesting that now, and I've been contacted by a few other indies too. Now more than ever, they're starting to tap into this like marketing idea. And I don't know if it's because Meta2 is ratcheting up. Maybe they're around the corner. It's like kind of putting pressure on people. I don't know. But it I think the biggest problem that I'm seeing across the board, and this isn't really just Chronicles or whatever, but a lot of these companies need to think about like their growth strategies. So you have even MetaZoo. This is a MetaZoo problem as well. You have all these fans that are enamored with your product, but that only gets you so far. So what are some ways that, you know, this is open for discussion. What are some ways that you think that an indie TCG could maybe grow their audience?
More, I was gonna say more demo days, more stuff on Twitch. I think that streaming and even doing stuff on Whatnot, like I think if they use their Whatnot to like do giveaways and stuff like that. And the issue now is that the playbook that MetaZoo used was actually the right one. It was just those using it weren't the right people. Like they were, they had maybe some more nefarious intentionality behind it. But the idea of the CEO being very personable and very connected with in the trenches. I've been, in like with Web3 and crypto, and like being in the trenches is like top tier, because that is a signal that, one, you're a real company, like you're not somebody who's just like doing this for play. You're somebody who's has a lot of thought process. You have a detailed map, or at the very least you care about the people that are, or the constituents that you have that are part of your game. So being in the trenches, and Mike was in the trenches, so that was a good thing that he did. Two, people seeing the product and the giveaways, like regardless, we think of like Collecticons as opportunity for people to like debut their game, but it was also a important giveaway opportunity for where somebody who might not have had something that was worth a lot felt like it was a lot. Like, oh, bro, you got a Collecticon stamp Headless Horseman, and if you wanted to, you could sell it. But a lot of those people didn't sell it originally, like unless you were just a professional flipper. But they're missing out on the giveaway aspect, getting in the trenches with the people. I think if you're not going to be at all the conventions, then streaming your giveaway events, even when Mike would do the impromptu like lives on Twitch, that was kind of cool. Just those little things that are a little bit unconventional, almost kind of like guerrilla marketing kind of tactics. That kind of stuff I think resonates a lot with the users.
Yeah, I think that's correct. I think you just kind of have to be active within your own community. I think that's a really big part of it. I still have yet to see any of these indies do ads quite as well as I'd like. I'm on social enough. I feel like I should be targeted by some of these ads. I fit the criteria. I follow enough of these indies that you should be targeting me on your list, and the ads just don't seem as quite as dialed in as I'd hope. That's how I initially saw MetaZoo. I know we're like no longer in that like Kickstarter growth hype TCG cycle that we used to have been in, but I had no interest in indie TCGs. I was vaguely interested in Pokemon, so I reckon that's probably why it hit me during COVID. But I just want to see somebody run that ad playbook right. Not trying to shill our services at all, but it's just kind of an obvious like low hanging fruit to me, where it's like, why? I'll throw this. I've thrown this one out there for free before. You could just scrape MetaZoo's Instagram follower base and target those specific UIDs and start selling them junk, whatever you want. That's what I would do. So I don't know if anybody's listening. Try that. Go there.
I personally think that if you can make it to a couple of Collecticons or a couple of conventions, and you can have a booth with your product and also promote play of your game, even if it's like a Steam Deck tournament that you provide the product for, and then if you're super cool with it, a constructed tournament, I think you have to have some type of gameplay, more than just a booth at a convention. And I'm speaking to the indie TCGs that are not still in the infancy stage, that are not just purely existing online pre their kicks or post their Kickstarter. If you want to take this seriously, you're going to have to grassroots it. You're going to have to get boots on the ground. That means that you can probably afford to go to one convention, one gaming convention at least. And whenever you go there, you need to plan on some sort of spectacle in the sense of come to our booth. Oh, hey, look at that promo that I just gave you. Also, if you check right here, point to a banner, we're doing a theme deck tournament completely free at 4 o'clock tomorrow or 4 o'clock today, whatever day one is, or day two. If it's like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you do it on Saturday because that's whenever people are going to show up because they're off work. Say, hey, we're doing a theme deck tournament. We're going to provide all of the product. Oh, you don't really know how to play? That's cool. Here, have a seat and let my colleague Ed give you a quick rundown using a theme deck that I'm going to give you on how to play this game. Bada bing, bada boom. Then suddenly, on top of your booth, people walk past that gaming area and they see like 16 people all sitting down doing the same thing is going to have people look and be like, what's that? Hey, what game are y'all playing? Okay, where's their booth? That's cool. And, maybe you have a little trophy. Go to the trophy shop and spend $50 on it could even be a really funny one where it's just got like a bowler on it. But it'd be funny. It'd be cool. You could be like, you could win this. Also, a booster box of our product. We know that cards are not expensive to print. They're not. You can go the cheap route.
Huh? They're shiny though. Sure.
Well, sure, I guess. It don't cost that much to put, you're spending, let's just say all in, you've got $1,000 into this event, this Collecticon. I'd say that's a decent enough marketing balance, budget for someone that's just trying to break in and get to that next step, right? So you have that one tournament. You get coverage on it, easy socials. That's money for the next month of you posting stuff about your tournament, Collecticon, something. Dude, when are you going to be at the next one? I want to get in on that. Oh, you gave out stuff for free? Holy moly. Now I definitely got to be at that. Or my friends played this at Collecticon. Where can I buy my own theme deck?
Mm-hmm.
I think people got to play. I think you have to show off your game in action. I think there has to be some sort of organized event for you to showcase the playing of your game. Otherwise, you just going to be a booth babe for every Collecticon you go to.
Every single one, and it don't matter who you got, what kind of connections you have. You're just gonna be there, and people are gonna be there. A couple of people gonna be there, but it's not gonna be what you want. Like they, as terrible as they were, they did some really good things, and I don't think it was like by intention. Like there was no intentionality behind it. Like the tournament in Houston, even like the boxes in New York Comic-Con, like the Nightfall boxes, like that hype drove everything else up. And having the free tournament in Houston again continued with that, like because the tournaments were small. Like we were going Colorado, small, Emerald City, but it allowed people to play, and you had a good regional buzz. Like Colorado had a nice little buzz in the beginning. Seattle had a nice buzz. Chicago had a nice buzz. Everywhere that they had a tournament at really had its own little community, your pocket community that spawned from that. But if you don't do that, oh, you're screwed.
No one's gonna walk past your booth at a Collecticon, grab a promo, and listen to your spiel for 5 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever. Unless they can, I promise you, unless they cannot apply this, like apply my free promo or my free theme deck, unless I can use it somehow, I'm just going to forget about it. It's just as simple as that. You're not Pokemon. You're not Yu-Gi-Oh. You're not Magic. You have to have people use your product. And if they don't, they will just forget about it because it's not an Eevee. It's not a Moonbryon. I'm so sorry. But get that going. Get that in some capacity. There's a free play area in every Collecticon. There's a bunch of tables that you can set up, even if it's 8 people. You could run 8-man pods if you wanted to. If you couldn't afford like a 16, 24, 32-man event, you could split that 32-man event up into 8 theme deck tournaments, 8-man theme, 4 8-man theme deck tournaments, and the winner gets a booster box. Holy moly. So not only do you got groups of people signing up, you could have a whole friend group of people sign up for it. Hey, we're going to stonk this event because we get a free box of cards to open up. On top of that free box, want more product? Hit them with a little QR code on top of that booster box. No problem. It's so simple. And suddenly you got 4 people that are into it, 8 people that are into it for the cost of $20. Seems like pretty good. And then if each of those 4 people buy a booster box for $80, well, we've converted some customers.
Yeah. So I guess you're just saying it has to be more authentic, right? You have to be there. TCGs are inherently kind of like a physical medium, right? So why not be there in person kind of making these points?
I just think that the collectability of non-big 3 does not exist. I just don't think that you can market yourself as a collectible card game. You need to have a playing aspect, a trading aspect. You're not sports cards. You are not a recognizable IP. You have to have that practical application of your product, or else you'll never get anywhere. IMO.
Yeah. No, that's good. I think that's good feedback. I'm always focused on like more of the digital aspect of stuff, like, oh, how do we grow? How do we do this? But it seems like a lot of those real world activations, so to speak, or like the in-person stuff is kind of what drives a lot of that. I think your online communities need to be thriving too, right? Like you got to start a conversation. Metazoo had a million ideas, some of them good, some of them bad, but I wish they went through my favorite one was the treasure hunt one or whatever it was. Like what do they call it? Geocaching? Where they were gonna have cards out in the wild or whatever.
Yeah, didn't they do that though? Like
Did
it was
they?
with tarot cards.
It was with tarot? Okay.
Yeah, they hid like sample tarot cards at conventions. There was like 1 a day. And it was just randomly somewhere in Collecticon. And someone would find it every day. Those sample tarot cards for a tarot card, those things sold in the beginning. People were paying a lot of money for that.
I remember fighting tooth and nail at New York Comic Con I said, what you mean? I don't ever get to like be a convention just casual and not be playing. So when I got to New York Comic Con, I was like, all right, I'm gonna stand in line and get one. And they're like, Ted's like, well, I think they want to give them to people who haven't seen the game or haven't been around. I'm like, brother, all I do is get to play. I don't get to collect any of the other stuff. And so I got the Frogman sample tarot card. Yeah. And so I was proud of myself. I ran. They opened the doors. I ran as fast as I could to get in the line and got in. But I don't think Ted cared, because it probably was like the higher I was being like, nah, don't give it to the Cast Society people.
But we don't like them.
We don't like them.
Don't give it to that Easton Evans guy.
Yeah.
We already gave him too much already.
Yeah. Dang.
That's funny though. Okay, so I don't know. Yeah. I think there's always going to be like that element where it's like, oh, we want to make sure new people get the new stuff, but you still have to sweeten it for the current folks too, right? It can't always be like a growth situation where it's like, okay, only new folks.
And that's what I said, if you're brand new, we'll use Chronicles of Arcane, for example, because they actually did a pretty decent thing, at least from the times I've seen them at conventions. The only way that you could get the convention exclusive promo was if you joined their Discord. That's smart. That's nice. What if, if you join the Discord and if you're brand new and you, post a message, we're going to scrub all that data at the end of the day. You come back tomorrow, we'll give you a free theme deck. If you're a new player, Or like you said, even for returning folks, you don't have to have theme deck tournaments. Have a constructed event for your returning fans. I think it's gotta be something. I think your players, not the collectors, and again, just speaking on indie TCGs only, I think that your players are what drive it. And once you have a player base, then you can offshoot into the collector aspect. Then you can start stonking the 1 of 10 alt arts, the numbered cards. But you got to have players before you have collectors. You don't start with collectors, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Pokemon didn't start with just collectors, right? It was a bunch of kids wanting to play Pokemon cards with their friends.
Mm-hmm. Playing it terribly. It was like,
yeah.
all right.
Just doing whatever, right?
Stage 3 evolutions.
But they were playing the cards, and they were telling mom that I need to go buy another pack of cards so I can play it with my friends. And then I would trade my friends because I wanted to play a Chansey card instead. Oh, okay, hold on. Suddenly now I want to keep those holographic cards because they're a little more rare and they're a little more powerful. And that's kind of how it got started, at least, for me. And I think that's the same playbook, right? You need people to play it before they collect it. A little bit, different in the current atmosphere because of things like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, who have instilled in Magic, who have instilled that fabricated collectability because they are a 30-year IP, right? So some people will have that mindset right off the get-go of, all right, what's the max rarity stuff? What's the limited stuff that I can get, that I can collect? But I don't think that's the market to capture whenever you're up and coming, like right starting from the beginning.
So on a similar tip, I was talking to John with Obscurids, and they're trying to grow their audience for their Kickstarter. So they're not even launched fully yet, but I was thinking, he's thinking about like a print mail piece, and a print mail piece is great. It makes sense. I'm usually against print mail because I'm like more of a digital marketer, I guess you'd say. Like I always want the numbers behind everything, but for TCGs, it kind of tracks, and they have a good list to market to. But I instead of doing a traditional piece where it's like, here's this piece of paper that tells me everything about this brand, because again, they would be sending this out to people that know nothing about them.
Yeah.
I think the way I would market this as a little bit more viral way is you would send a print piece that tells very little about the brand, and they would have to go to a web page that's on so they can find out more. So you get this weird looking, maybe it's like this tattered looking document that just says Obscurids on it. And you would go to the web page to find out more and learn about this obscure thing. And the tricky part is, like, part of me would be like, oh, it would be cool if you like serialized it, but I think that's a little hokey to just serialize a print piece to send to somebody. Maybe the other way to go about it is you do like a custom foil stamp. So even the print pieces that show up in people's mail is a collectible item. But I was just throwing that by y'all just to see what you guys think about that. But I think if I was an indie TCG and I wanted to have some sort of collectability and hype around my brand as a growth strategy, I'd want to find literally like everything that I made somehow coveted, right? Like you just make even things that most people would throw away into something that somebody would want.
Yeah.
I can expand on that even. I think this is and again, it's free 99 knowledge. Let that web page that it leads you to, let it open with a demo of the game. You're like sitting there and you're playing against Bigfoot, and it's just like, hey, draw your hand, and you have to click on it and it draws you 5 cards. Hey, don't you need to set out your locations? So then you do that, and it demos the first couple of turns of the game, and it's like one of those tutorial fights where you always lose, and suddenly Bigfoot beats your ass on like turn 2. He cheats, he does something, he's already set up, whatever. You lose. After you lose, it opens up into the main website.
Even if it was just a turn. I think
even a turn,
yeah. Just draw a card, play a card, like very simple. And ideally hopefully your game's not too complicated where somebody can't even, they can play a turn, right?
Right, exactly. And then you said giving value to things that would otherwise, not have any of that. Maybe on that sheet of paper that has that little hollow foil stamp, like how they put like, nominator of the so-and-so like book club, like Oprah's book club stamp, right? You have one of those on that sheet of paper, and if you bring it to the next convention that they're at, you get a promo. You get like an exclusive mail-in. It's like, oh, I got the mailer promo, and it's exclusive to just that mailer that you got. And maybe there's one on an email as well, right? It's like, print this out with this code and bring it to PAX Unplugged, and we will give you the email exclusive promo, and you could run that forever.
Yeah. Everybody wants to feel special, right?
Exactly.
And like they're kind of in a sort of a club. In Metazu's case, it was a cult. But I do say that though, like it was like a
cult.
Yeah, it was a cult, but the club is a nice way of phrasing it. But you kind of wanted everything, and why, I don't know. I just think it's neat. Maybe I don't really understand the logic behind a lot of it, but they definitely made it to where even the most like water bottles, like the Caster Cup water bottle.
Man,
why do I want this? I don't know.
I have no idea.
But you get where I'm coming from, right? Like you want even the most mundane things to be coveted. That's really great for a brand. So just from a general brand standpoint, I think that's sort of what I would try to be aiming for.
That a demo opening on that website, and maybe it plays a turn, and then there's like a button up in the top right of your website after you play the turn and said like, go to turn 2, and it continued the demo.
Yeah.
And you could play a full like small round of like 4 or 5 turns until Bigfoot outramps you and kills your guy. Or you could even like frame it to where like you're just kind of thrust into the situation and you're down and out for the count, and Bigfoot's already built up, right? Something like that. You could frame it in a way, but I think if you want to drive people to that and you want to capture them more so than just going to an Obscurids landing page that just says, what is Obscurids? I think you open with a demo or like a flash video, something that just showcases your game with the cool little animations, and the people behind Obscurids were the people behind Cryptid Clash, right? So it's not like they don't know how to do that. Seems like a pretty easy thing, at least for them. And I think other up-and-comer TCGs would really do well to, have that. Pokemon did it even before like code cards. They started putting code cards in their packs so that you would go to their online client and you would play the game. But they would have tons of promotions where you would just go to the website and it would show you how to play a turn or whatever. Like it's proven it works. I think it'd be a really cool idea. And then, like you said, just feeling special off getting like the mailer promo. Don't send them the promo. They got to work for it. They got to do something. They got to bring you that piece of mail. They got to print out that email, and it's not that difficult just to like add their name to a database so they can't just keep coming back. Or maybe you want them to keep coming back and getting a promo every time you go to a convention. That's fine too. If they get a new email with a new code, send it. You know?
I mean, the passport stuff and the idea that the promo cards that built up into a story was very genius. Like that was a cool thing. I think beginner games should start doing that to build some level of I guess build some internal story, but also build like a rabid fan base. It's like, what I need to know what's going on in the story, or at least have something where if you come to all of our events, you get X, Y, and Z. Like, I mean, and it actually be worth whatever.
Dude,
like
the stamp book would go crazy, but it's got to be something worth the juice. The juice has got to be worth the squeeze.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to all of these, I probably wouldn't announce it pre the convention cycle, but after the first convention cycle, say, hey, we're going to be at these 2 other collecticons. If you bring your passport book with all 3 of these, we're going to give you like an alt art or something that has that fabricated value, right? where they're like, okay, and then the people that have missed out, you're probably like, oh, well, how are we going to get those guys in? Miss your passport booklet? Do this at our booth and we'll give you the first stamp, right? So then you reel them back in. You're just trying to get as many people interested. I mean, and that's what MetaZoo did, right? MetaZoo was the Collecticon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it was because of the promos. Now they just gave them out. You can have more engagement than they did, as opposed to just sitting in line. You can have a little bit more on it, you know. I know that they toyed around with using the coins, you know, and like the vending machine, right? That never came to fruition, but it would have been a cool thing.
Comic-Con was the perfect scenario if they weren't trying to make it just a spectacle and actually like they had partners, so you went to other vendors in the Comic-Con and you got your book stamped and they gave you a card. Then once you completed all of the passport, they gave you an additional card. By the end of the Comic-Con, you had like 8 additional promos that were pretty coveted, plus an additional card and a passport book that was stamped and, you know, signed and all this other stuff. So in my opinion, if a lot of like super early on Kickstarters do that and then work on the collaboration between games or between businesses that are at the convention, because I think that's also a way of working well that, again, MetaZoo did, was the partnerships cross-pollinated, although they were like really weird things. It was more for the buzz, like, whoa, they're with Gamer Subs or Gamer Fuel, and they got a card. Partner with other smaller games or brands, and then that allows you to cross-pollinate your product with theirs and your fandom with their fandom, and you might get some type of you know, residual effect where somebody, 1 or 2 of those people, or a small percentage of them convert over to, you know, players and collectors or something of the such.
And God, you could even do it with like the special guests at a Collecticon, saying, hey, this is Arnold Schwarzenegger and his favorite beastie is Mothman. And if you go to get your Mothman signed by Arnold Schwarzenegger, you can come back to our booth and we'll give you something cool. Of course, they're incentivized, but you could do it with like artist booths. Like, they really love the Radioactive Hornets and they did an exclusive artwork. And if you buy their $10 print and you bring it back, we'll give you a pack of cards or something like that.
You know what I'd like to see, which I don't think I'd ever see, because some people are just really petty, but I think there's a way. I've said it before, I think all these indie TCGs can win somehow, but it would be cool to see cross collabs where it's like MetaZoo X Chronicles of Arcane. So there's a MetaZoo character, a beastie, on a Chronicles of Arcane card, or vice versa. And I think that would be really a great way to cross pollinate. I mean, the games are different. I don't know. There's just ways where I think other indie TCGs could probably support each other outside of like just saying everybody is just competition. If you're differentiated enough, I don't think there's any reason to be petty about like, hey, that's, you know, some of your audience might like some of what you do, and some of my audience might like some of what you do. I don't know.
And why can't we share that love?
Yeah.
You know? why do none of us got to make money?
It's just really weird how tribal a lot of like TCG folks can be, and it's just sort of unnecessary, because at the end of the day, people just buy things that they like, and it could even be, it doesn't even have to be a playable card. It could just be art, like a non-playable art card. It's got,
or a token.
Yeah, a token. It's just like, hey, we're friends. Like, you know, we're in the same industry. We use some of the same artists in our games. Different game, different stuff. I don't know.
I mean, I would hope, and I hope that with the death, or at least like the slow death of a lot of the old OG Kickstarter games, that people don't have the ego to be like adversarial because your game is doing maybe better than mine or has a larger user base or anything like that, because that's what it was. Although I do know that MetaZoo, you know, MetaZoo wasn't beloved by the rest of the Kickstarter crowd. Like, people were saying stuff. They were making cards or making like shooting like, you know, flares in the air and saying certain things that were, wasn't the best, or I guess the friendliest gesture for an indie TCG. And I would hope now that it's more of a rising tide raises all boats strategy, because look, like Ed and I know and Kurt know, like we're pretty well versed, or at least like knowledgeable, or seeing like Web3 trends and tendencies, and it's about to get real ugly for a lot of people. A lot of the projects that started out and maybe aren't like the top 2 or 3 or 4 are going to eventually fizzle out, and you're seeing that with the Kickstarter genre in general. Like, what was it? I was listening to Rudy, and he said, was it 17 or 7, or a lot of the original Kickstarter games have fizzled out or died or ceased to produce any additional sets. And in order for you to survive, you're going to have to be very low to the ground. You're going to have to be very nimble, and you're going to have to work with others, although you might not necessarily want to, because now Kickstarters aren't the land of milk and honey that people used to. The reason why everybody was getting into Kickstarter games was because, I can raise $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 on a Kickstarter opportunity, and I could maybe make some money off of this, or people could flip their cards double, triple, and quadruple what they bought in for. But those aren't happening anymore. This is back to regular times. Pokemon, the OGs, are back at the top doing what they do, and now you're back a small fish in a small pond, or a small fish in a really big pond. And so you need to like collaborate with others, figure out some strategies that you think that can keep you here for the next boom, and then use that to really propel your game, because you don't want to die off in this like the void zone, this like dark area
Yeah,
where we don't
fade
know
into obscurity, right?
Yeah, basically.
Well, we've covered just about an hour's worth of stuff. I want to plug a little bit of, I guess we have, in the next podcast, Tuffy's sending over some his new horror product for Lolcow, so looking forward to checking that out. And then we need to talk about Primal, because go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say Tuffy he's killing it. He's killing it with Lockout.
Yeah.
We sing those praises every time we hear about it, but it's true. It's pretty crazy.
Those VHS deck boxes look really cool.
Oh, they're sick.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Mikey with Primal, they got a whole organized play roadmap for 2025 out. So shout out to them. Hope more people kind of follow that particular model as well. If you want your game to be played, please publish your OP roadmaps. They've got the championship series with all these different crystal cups for at least 6 different ones for their different types. So I don't know. It's really cool. It's just something you can plan your year around if you're a competitive player. So I love that.
We do indeed. We'll definitely need to give some more loving to the indies.
Yeah.
No, this was good though. Again, we skipped all of our Pokemon news, or Magic, or Yu-Gi-Oh news, but this was I feel like a really good conversation just on where things are headed for 2025 as far as the indies go, and that's kind of our focus anyways. But hoping to see a lot of action. I mean, there's some like cautious optimism as we move into this like Collecticon season coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Protect your money.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, thanks for stacking the deck with us. And that's all I got.
Peace.
See you.
Bye, guys. Bye.
We love you.